Welcome to Beyond the Diet. This is your space to transform your relationship with weight, food, and the changes that come with each stage of your life, so you move through womanhood embodying your feminine strength and radiance. Led by me, Audrey,
and me, Christina, we are your weight, wellness, and women's health guides and coaches. This channel gives you practical tips, holistic practices, and transformational insights to help you release that stubborn weight naturally and easily,
improve your digestion and metabolism,
balance your hormones,
implement holistic practices for stress relief, energy, women's health and balance.
And we ultimately help you step into your power as the vibrant, unstoppable woman you were always meant to be.
Join us to learn about listening to your body, eating with awareness, and living in a way that supports your unique stage of womanhood.
Every week you'll find empowering videos on weight loss, women's health, yoga, Ayurveda, and the lifestyle shifts that are designed to help you feel at home in your body again.
This is your invitation to step into womanhood differently. This is Yoga to Transform. And today's topic is about forgiveness.
A big one, right? What a big topic.
And we'll probably say this several times during the session, but we're just giving you hints and ideas. And if it actually brings up things that you feel like we're not really covering or it feels too big for you, do make sure that you go and talk to somebody else or make your own arrangements to make it feel better in your body. So we've got some generalized help and hints for you today, but it can be a big issue depending on where you are in your life journey. So today we're just going to start off with a little bit of a meditation. And one of the things about forgiveness is that we are going to really try and ground ourselves. So I'm not sure how you're sitting, but I really encourage you to sit with your feet flat on the floor. Feel free to inner spiral. So inner thigh down, outer thigh up. So that you really feel like you've got a good contact with your feet on the floor. Good. All right. So once you feel like you're seated comfortably with your feet on the floor, you might like to bring yourself up into a more upright position. I don't know whether you're sitting on your couch or on the bed or something, but just come up to a little bit more of hips, she says, pointing to her shoulders, shoulders over hips. So you're a little bit more upright. And as you feel ready, maybe soften your gaze or just flutter your eyelids closed. And as you sit here, just begin to notice your breath. Feel the rhythm and flow of the inhale and the exhale. And just let whatever's been going on before this satsang, let that go. And know that you don't have to worry about whatever's happening afterwards until we're finished. And as you're sitting here, we're going to use the imagery of a waterfall. Now, I like to think about a waterfall on a warm summer's day. And we're just going to stand ourselves or allow that waterfall just to begin to softly pour over us. So starting at your head, the gentle, soft waterfall is beginning to pour over you. It feels warm and it's just flowing down over the top of your head. You're still breathing gently and evenly. And this waterfall is continuing to flow down over the top of you. You know, it's reaching your shoulders, pouring down your arms and over your chest and over your back. And then the water continues to flow down over your torso, past your hips and thighs. And the water's just continuing to flow from the top of your head all the way down now, right to your feet, and flows away from your feet. And continue to feel that soft, gentle waterfall flowing down from above you, flowing all the way down through your body, over your body, flowing down over your feet, and then washing away beyond where you are, flowing away down into the earth. Just take a few moments as you continue to breathe to feel that water flowing over you, washing down over your head, flowing down over your body, and flowing away down into the earth beyond you. Now just allow any thoughts, feelings, sensations or memories that may be floating around with you just to flow away with that last bit of water before we move away. So just let those last droplets of water that are coming from the waterfall to flow down over you, moving anything that's you've been thinking about, you've remembered, any sensations. Just let those all flow away down through across your body and down into the earth. And as we move out of the waterfall now, allow yourself to focus back in on your breath. We've moved out of the waterfall. Take a couple of deeper breaths, maybe even sigh out your mouth. Maybe another one. And now let your breath come back to its normal rhythm. As you gently flutter open your eyelids or begin to bring your gaze back into the room. And again, just let those last thoughts, feelings or memories, all those sensations just flow away. And here we are, ready to come together and discuss forgiveness.
Yeah.
Which can be a bit of a biggie, can't it?
It can be, but that was so delicious. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
I really felt the purification of the water as it kind of washed over me.
Nice.
And interesting, remind me when we get to the practical tips and techniques that while you were cleansing and purifying my soul with the waterfall, I was like, oh, there's that other practical forgiveness technique. Oh, and that other one. So
I'm making a note so I don't forget. Yeah.
And then Marianne Williamson.
Okay. All
right. So we've got a bit to cover. So, and then I've just been inspired with more. So I'll try not to talk too fast. I love it. You've got like the sun kind of coming in and illuminating you. It's beautiful. Your own enlightenment. So here's the thing, right? So why would we even bother with forgiveness? And why? Like, what's the point? What's the benefit? Why? And it's interesting because I'm going through A Course in Miracles at the moment again. It's like a spiritual practice for me, but one of the key central tenets of A Course in Miracles is forgiveness. And a huge amount of the work in A Course in Miracles is around forgiveness. And basically what it says in the book is that there is no kind of variation in the size of a grievance. So if you have a little niggle, just that little tiny niggle, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's only a little niggle.
Like the dog barks next door or something.
Correct. Yeah, just a little niggle and you hold on to it. Or you have something really big that like you hold on to and it's massive and it's really traumatic and it's you have every right and you're justified in holding on to that big thing. That little niggle and that big thing are the same in terms of impact on who you are and impact on your soul. right?
Okay. I don't mind the dog.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's like all of those little things. And so I was just complaining to Audrey about a customer service issue that I had this week. Right? That was a little niggle. But if I hold on to that little niggle, it's exactly the same as if someone did something really bad to me, like bullied me for 50 years, 13 years, right? You know, so it's the same from a spiritual perspective, right? So any size of your grievance, any size of your unforgiveness, anything that you're holding on to, you can't kind of justify it away by just saying, well, it's not really that bad, you know, which I probably would do. I'd probably hold on to that customer service grievance for months because it's only a little problem.
But it was annoying.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right, is that ultimately we have this job is to peel back all the layers so that we get back to who we really are, right? Because who we really are isn't all the stories.
No, because they don't really even exist, actually. It's a memory in our mind. It's, what does Tony Robbins call them? A hallucination. My hallucination is.
Yeah, exactly. So we hold on to those memories because in some form or another, they're gratifying to us. Like we like the juice of feeling a little bit peeved about the neighbor's dog or that customer service or that whatever it might be. So, but to get to you being able to live from your true nature, which is
joy and love
and beauty and bliss and all of that stuff, where you just look at, like I'm looking at you, Dinah, with the light streaming on you, and it just looks beautiful.
You look very angelic as the way you are today.
Exactly, right? Like and so you have this, that any grievance that I'm holding on to, any unforgiveness blocks my ability to be able to see that in the moment. So because, first point, great warm-up.
4, isn't there?
Yeah, there's 4 points. This is point number 1. When you're holding on to unforgiveness, you're stuck in the past. Let me just select.
Oh, good.
There we go. When you're holding on to unforgiveness, you're stuck in the past, right? So when you're stuck in the past, right, here is this present moment. And I'm interacting with you, Audrey, and I'm seeing you, Audrey, as you are right now.
Right. Yeah.
But sometimes what happens with when you are holding on to stories from the past, what you actually see, and when you're reacting to a certain situation, is that 80% of it, I might think I'm present time, but 80% of my reaction is something from the past. Yeah. I'm reacting to the unresolved part of me that's still living back in the past. Yeah.
So you're not actually able to interact with the present from this present moment, you know, what actually is going on now, because you're using that story that helps define you, and you're reacting, like you said, 80% of it is from an old story.
Yeah, an old story that you keep playing over in your head, over in your head, over in your head. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about you keep creating your familiar known past every single day. So you wake up and you do the same things, you think the same thoughts, you hang out with the same people, and it's just the same pattern and the same routine over and over again. So there's the stuckness of living in the past, which means you can't experience fully the moment or the person in front of you, because rather than looking and seeing Audrey as she is today, I look at Audrey and I see all the stories I have about Audrey. Lucky they're all good ones. So you're stuck in the past. But then the other thing with why forgiveness is really important is that, so you're living in the past, and then you're taking all of the stuff that you know happened in the past, and you go, well, it's going to happen in my future.
And because you're living in the present with the past informing you, it will happen in the future, because you're making that line just so strong, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had a story like, oh, I don't know, you can't trust men because they're all dirty people.
Insert your own word there.
Yeah, right. Then, and that might be because someone broke up with you, or someone broke your heart, or you had a boyfriend that was really mean to you, or maybe your father was, not around, whatever it might have been, the story from the past. Then you replay that story in all your present time relationships, and then maybe even start avoiding future relationships because of someone broke up with you when you were 15 and they broke your heart.
Yeah.
So if you don't clear that unforgiveness, you get stuck there, and then you start putting that past into your future and into your present time. So that's point number one. So point number two, right? It takes a lot of energy, doesn't it?
To keep that unforgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much energy do you put into, like, if I'm like really pumped up about that customer service situation, I'm like, all that energy going into that bad customer service story means that I can't put energy into other stuff.
Yeah. And we probably all know people who really have those stories playing all the time, and that's sort of how they see the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that they don't have any energy to move anywhere else or do anything else.
No. And if you tell yourself a bad enough story long enough, then it creates health issues.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Because it's draining on your whole physical being. Yeah. So if you're holding on to unforgiveness, then all of this vital energy, you see those people that have got energy and they're light and vibrant and energetic and smiling and radiant, and probably because they haven't got a lot of people to forgive left. And then the heavy, it has an impact on your health and your well-being. Yeah, you can there might be people that that eat really healthy, work out, live very fit lifestyles, and yet they're riddled with cancer and they're very unwell. And then you start to talk to them and you hear all of the stories and the complaints that they're holding on to. And then you talk to someone who smokes, drinks, eats all the wrong foods, never exercises, and they're fit as a fiddle. That's my father. He just passed a medical exam, right, to go to some really remote part of Australia. He's in his 70s. He's like, I passed the medical exam. The men that were a third of my age are failing.
Yes, you might not hold him up as an example, though.
No. He still has some unforgiveness. We all have unforgiveness.
Yeah, but we're not going to advocate smoking and drinking and eating unhealthily.
No, the ice cream the man eats, I tell you what. But in terms of living the fullness of lifestyle. So it's not about how you live, but it's how you nourish your mind. Because
we all know those people who have those stories, and we might meet them and they have that same, the customer service story, say,
yes.
But they have that story, and that is the story that they have, and that's what they're telling you about every time. And if it's not the customer service story, it's about the car, or it's about the electrician that didn't turn up, or whatever. And so they just replace those stories. But the energy that goes into remembering the story and being able to retell it and recall it and summoning up all that anger and grit, that they need to tell that story so forcefully, it would be, as we can imagine, it would be much better for that energy to be used in more joyful things.
Absolutely. What if you got up every morning and told yourself the story of the life that you're creating? And just put the books aside of all of the pain and all of the hurt and all of the you did me wrong. What if you did that? How would your life change? So your energy gets stuck there. The third one is that you can end up staying connected to, if it's a person that you've got a grievance about or unforgiveness about,
staying energetically connected to that person. And, you know, if I'm waking up every morning mad at John Boy, the customer service person, right? And like I'm connected energetically to him.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your cousin who didn't show up for a party that had promised to come, or
Yeah.
you know, whoever it is, if you're waking up every morning and have that connection to, oh, I'm so, you know, so annoyed that didn't happen, or that person let me down, or whatever.
Yeah.
That then their energy is impacting you every day.
Absolutely. You haven't left that person behind. And they're still sitting right beside you. Like the Buddhist monk story where two Buddhist monks, they weren't meant to touch women or interact with women, so obviously they were men. They're going for a walk and they get to a river, and there's a woman at the side of the river and she can't get across the river because it's a bit high. So one of the Buddhist monks says, I'll carry you across the river. So he picks up the woman and he carries her across the river, and the younger Buddhist monk and the older Buddhist monk keep walking. Let's just say they walk for 10 miles. And then the younger Buddhist monk turns to the older one and goes, you're not meant to carry or touch it. You're not meant to touch a woman, but you carried her across the river. And the older Buddhist monk said, I put that woman down 10 miles ago. You've been carrying her all this time. G'day.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that one before.
Good story.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'd been churning on it, whereas he just did the deed that needed to be done and it was finished.
Yeah. Put her down and kept walking. And the young guy was like,
Churning.
hey, what? He touched a woman. What's going on here?
Not supposed to be doing that. And
Yeah.
something, yeah. Beautiful. Good story.
Exactly. So that young Buddhist monk was attached to the woman still, right? He was still carrying the woman, even though the woman had been put down 10 miles before and he'd never even touched her. Right? But say you have a story where someone did you wrong. Okay, so let's just run with the that my boyfriend dumped me when I was 18 and broke my heart because he cheated on me. Let's just make it really dramatic, right? I am the victim in that story, right? So I'm still energetically attached to my boyfriend. I haven't let go of him. I'm still connected and I'm the victim, right?
Mm.
And from being the place of the victim in the story, I'm not stepping into my own power, right? And so there's a part of my identity that A, stays attached to that person, but then B, becomes the identity of the victim.
I am a victim of this. Yeah, so in fact you're saying that in your head. So the more you say I am, whatever you say after that, you are, you're putting that into the way you behave. I am the victim. I'm a victim. He was so mean, he was so horrible, and I'm the victim here.
Yeah.
Do you think that it carries on in the rest of your life then?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think well, you know, like I liked being a victim for a very long time, right? And so I was a victim at place after place after place after place after place, right? And it wasn't even conscious. It's not that I even knew, oh man, poor me, I'm a victim, and I wasn't even calling myself that. But from the perspective of the repeating circumstances in my life, I was a victim. Yeah, there's no power in that. I'm not empowered. I'm totally at the whim of the universe and everyone else.
Because of that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're connected to the other person and you might, unbeknownst to you, have a bit of a victim mentality. And then the last one, number 4, is it's an important part of the spiritual path. So why is it an important part of the spiritual path? Do you want to say something?
No, I'm just taking a breath. Was like,
okay. Oh, she wants to say something. So
I have to hear what you're going to say.
Oh, fabulous. So the important part of the spiritual path is this. We have, from a yogic perspective, everything is neutral. In Tantra, in the non-dual Tantra philosophy that I study, they take it a little bit further, but that's because you get to choose how you see the world, right? We get to choose the meaning that we make of the world that we live in. So, but from a yogic perspective, it's neutral. From a Buddhist perspective, it's empty. There's another one.
So the power of now.
Yes.
So Eckhart Tolle says that it's nothing.
Yes.
It's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Eckhart Tolle says it's nothing. Buddhists say it's empty, and yoga says it's neutral. Right? It's not good or bad. It's not right or wrong. It just is. Right? And then we place meaning on the world based on our past. Right? So I make Audrey a wonderful human based on my history with Audrey, right? I make that picture of Buddha, whatever I make it, based on my history with Buddha, right? So we, by putting our stories on the neutral ground of being, that is the world or the empty or the nothing, are giving it meaning and then making it good, bad, right or wrong. Right? But from a spiritual perspective, the practice is if I'm overlaying my own meaning onto this ground of being, then I don't get to see the real ground of being that's in front of me.
Mm.
That's quite a deep.
It's quite deep.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we make that simple?
Yeah. All right. So let me have a go. So
Yeah.
basically, so I've just been doing a little bit more reading from Eckhart Tolle, and his power of now invites us to consider that every moment is the only moment there is, because we can't go back to that minute that Christina, before she had a drink of water, we can't go back to that moment. And I might have a drink of water in a moment or in a wee while, but we can't go there yet because I'm not drinking. So the only actual moment of our lives is this particular second, minute, whatever we take as a time. So we can interpret what's going on. We can kind of go like Dinah had a lovely sun ray coming on at her, and I said she looked angelic. Well, that is my interpretation of seeing photos or pictures of angels, maybe with the fingers of God light coming down, and I made an interpretation. But I mean, really what we're sort of saying is that the interpretation of it is that the sunlight was shining on Dinah.
Full stop.
Full stop. Because that's the practical thing of what it is. And we can add our own stories, but what we're saying is that if your story is unforgiveness, or you're connected to the person who did you wrong, or you're continuing to find more situations to find that same, to reinforce that story that you have, you're not allowing yourself to have the experience of this particular moment, because you've got 80% of your whole mind, thought pattern, and even physical body, like we're talking about, is just going to the he did me wrong, she did me wrong, that customer service person's really upset me and it's going to really ruin my life for the rest of the day. And I'll probably wake up thinking about it because I had to spend a lot of money. And, we have that story, whereas the opportunity to feel like there's more lightness and possibility in the world is by taking the moment that is and enjoying it without trying to interpret it to do with what's happened in the past.
Correct. Or what might happen in the future.
Or what might happen in the future.
Yeah.
So it is quite a big concept. It's not the way that 99% of the world probably don't understand or even dare to consider the things that we're talking about right now, about just living in the present moment. And we're not saying we're disregarding all that learning that we've done. We want to be safe. We want to know that we can drive a car, and all those practical things that help us get through the world and to live our lives well and safely, and all those things. We're not saying that those things are of no use, because they're ways that help us actually live our lives. It's more around the emotional stuff. And we know that what happens to us, we have a real perspective on it, but you just need to talk to someone who, say, sees a car accident or something terrible like that. But it depends on which street corner you're standing on, or whether you were in the car or you're coming behind or from the front. That when the police officer turns up to take statements, they have to take a statement from everybody because everybody's in a different position. And so although when you were 18 and your boyfriend done you wrong, you know, actually you might not have been the kindest person. I don't know. I mean, but the
Probably
thing is,
wasn't. Actually,
yeah,
you're done right there, Audrey.
I don't know. It's, you know, I look back and, you know, maybe I wasn't the, you know, we can all possibly say those things as well.
Yeah, and I think that here's the thing, right, is that, like you said, it's the emotional charge, right? So when you look back at something and you feel anger, or you feel sadness, or you feel shame, or you feel need for vengeance, or there's a charge with it. And here's the thing from a yogic perspective, is that even if it's a positive charge, even if you look back and you're like, that was the happiest day of my life, you're right. You know, I often think of, you know, the first time I saw my 2 children when they were both born, like, oh, you know, even those moments.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because they, yeah. So that's right. I don't really know how to express that, but the same kind of thing is that, especially if you say that was the happiest moment of my life, does that mean you're never going to get a happy moment like that ever again?
Exactly, and it's stopping me from loving my children as much as I loved them when they were first born.
I hadn't thought about that.
But but here's the thing. So the work on your spiritual path is to drop the charge, drop the emotional charge around a person, around an event, around a situation, around a circumstance that happened in the past, so that you can free yourself in the present moment, that you can let go of that story, and then in this present moment be completely present.
Yeah.
And that's the spiritual practice.
So back to Dinah in the sunlight. Thank you so much for letting us use you. You've got no choice. But actually, I didn't need to compare you to anything else. It just looked lovely, the sun coming in the window, shining on you, you know, and that was actually, and that's the work for us to do, is to notice the present moment. So, you know, any of you who've sort of followed me know that you know, I'm quite a big gratitude practice person. And that is making, you know, that makes you find the pleasure, the joy in each moment of every day. You're not needing to compare it to yesterday, and it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow, because today it was fun to see you with the light shining on you, Dinah. You know, it was nice to be outside with the wind blowing in our faces and Christina going, I don't know whether east is or whatever.
I like it. Yeah, I've taught for 16 years. I still don't know what an easterly is. Hopefully Audrey explained it. So
sorry, too technical. But anyway, shall we go on to the...
Well, you just made a wonderful segue in terms of practical tips. It's gratitude.
Yeah, and we had one at the beginning as well, a practical tip of actually being grounded and feeling like you are part of this earth that we're on. So Christina and I have both got bare feet, but you know, you might find the opportunity to actually be outside, maybe on the grass or in your garden with bare feet, or you know, feel yourself actually settled. The water, using the waterfall as an idea, that also helps us feel like, you know, all the things that are in our minds can flow through us and flow away. So, you know, you might have heard me say, you know, your memories as well. So you do have those memories stored, good or bad. We're trying to find the neutral part of them. I mean, it was an exciting day when your kids were born.
Oh, it was wonderful.
That's right. But it's not, we're not saying that it was the happiest day of your life, because all of a sudden you put it up here.
Yeah.
You know, and does that mean that, yeah, like I said, are you never going to have another happy moment like that? But you never know.
Yes, I've had plenty.
Yeah, that's right. So actually what we're going to do now is we're actually going to do a practical thing if you feel like doing it. If you want to have a think about someone or something that keeps reoccurring in your life that you think you can forgive them about, or maybe yourself. You know, I've done plenty of things where I thought I've been a bit stupid and, you know, held on to those things for a long time, thinking that was me. I was, you know, a foot in mouth kind of girl in the past. And so just have a think about those things while you gather together a piece of paper and a pen, or a notepad, or a journal or something, because I just like us to spend a few minutes either just quietly writing something. So I'll give you a couple of minutes, go and find yourself some writing material, and we'll do some writing about forgiveness.
Yeah, and come up with that list. Who done me wrong?
Yeah, who done me wrong? Right, you got some paper and pen? You're going to have a go at doing this too?
Pen, I'll just quickly grab one.
Okay.
Over here.
So you're all organised, I can see. Got a paper and a pen. So just it's a practical tip of a way of using something practical to actually start to shift some of those stories that we've got in our head of who done you wrong. And sometimes we're going to suggest today that you write a letter.
We might not have time.
Oh, what time are we going? Oh, crikey, we've not too much.
We have.
So what we're going to do is get you to write a list, maybe one person or two or three, or person or situation that you could in the future, maybe once we've finished, you might have a few moments just to have a think about it, to write a letter about what happened. And as you do that, one of the things that can occur to you as you're doing it is you can start to see whether there's some flow on, some follow on from the things that you're writing about. So if we use the example of the customer service person who was a pain in the neck, you might actually see that, I don't know, probably should use an example of my own. Maybe it was one of those times when I said something without thinking too much and actually made a judgment because I was quite determined that I was right, because often that was my behavior in the past. I was right. So what I might do is, I might write, dear principal, because there was a principal I can just remember, dear principal, and I'll just leave the name blank, and there was, I don't know, there was a time when, I didn't get a job or something like that happened, that I could have behaved in a better way, and that this principal, wasn't kind to me and didn't go through the process well, told me I was too young, all those things. So I'm just writing a few notes down about that and about that and about that, and actually as I'm writing that, and I know I have used this example with myself before, and actually maybe I was too young, and maybe those things that I start to write about were some of the reasons that I didn't get the job, because as you're writing, you're giving yourself permission to review that grudge, that unforgiveness, that person done me wrong. And as you're writing, you're able to sort of let go of some of the charge of it. Because I don't want to be connected to that person anymore. That person in my life is of no consequence these days. But if I'm still hanging on to that, what other job am I not getting? Or what other person am I interacting with poorly because the way that I interacted with that person and the grudge that I'm holding, the unforgiveness that I'm holding is carrying on in my life.
Yeah, and it becomes this upward spiral. So it's a powerful practice of journaling, but if you can write the letter to the person or to the situation and write how you feel. And I remember writing the letter to the person, and I think for about 10 pages, all I said was, if you die, or something, it was pretty like, yeah, like whatever was inside of me, it took about 10 pages to get out, and it wasn't pretty, right? So, and that's okay too, because it's not inside of me anymore. And I might have had to go back and write another letter a week later, but it was only 3 pages the next time. So, so don't judge yourself when you write the letter. Just whatever you have, whatever you're holding on to, write it into the letter. Let them know what you really think about the situation. And then you're absolutely right. Then there's the moment of pausing and reflecting and letting the version of you that can see the blessing in this moment, in that person, in that situation, in that gift, come in and maybe write a letter from that perspective.
Yeah. So we're talking about the higher self, but sometimes, and this has really worked for me, you know, well, what would your best friends say? What would the person who really loves you and wants you to flourish, what would they say to you about this situation? You know, it might be your partner, it might be your mum, you know, other family member, because sometimes we can get more clarity from understanding what somebody else would say to us, and we're not actually able to be as kind to ourselves in that moment as we would have. You know, we know that that other person would be really generous and kind to us.
Yeah.
So we were able to use them to help us.
Absolutely. And it's, once you've gotten the feelings and the charge and the, you know, and seriously come back and do it 10 times if you need to, out, and then you've gotten the softening and the perspective check and the reframe, because sometimes we're holding on to our version of events, and we need to get that out before we can see the bigger story around the event. I was going to say something, but it's completely gone.
Well, I was just going to say, again, you know, we're just giving you some general tips. And if this feels really sticky and uncomfortable and it's something you don't want to do right now, you know, you might not just put it away and not do it. But also, I do encourage you that if it does feel like there's something you want to work on, you know, to find someone that's, you know, a trained counsellor or somebody like that may be able to give you some personalised tips.
Yeah. So the higher self perspective, or the self, your best friend, or the part of you that loves you and would help you see the bigger picture perspective. And I think if you can get to the point of being able to see that situation or see that person and look at the 18-year-old version of myself who got dumped and cheated on by the boyfriend. I didn't, by the way, that's just made up. Dumped and cheated on by the boyfriend, then I can see, well, he wasn't my person, right?
Thank goodness.
Exactly. Why would I even be upset about not being with someone who, you know, behaves that way, or whatever it might be? So being able to then kind of look back and see, well, what was the blessing? Because Byron Katie, who teaches about being in the present moment, one of the things that she says is, well, how did you know it was meant to happen?
It happened.
Yeah. Full stop.
Yeah. So it was meant to happen. It was meant to happen that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
How did you know it was perfect?
Because it happened.
Exactly. Because that's how it happened. Exactly how it happened. Which, when you've got a big charge around something, it's hard to know that it's hard to accept or swallow that it's perfect for your journey and your story, and that it should have happened. Because some of the things that happen, you're like, no, I
didn't need that.
No.
But yes.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. You wouldn't be the woman you are today. None of you would be the people if those things that have happened that you might still have a charge around hadn't happened.
I wonder whether we just finished with the heart meditation.
That's what I was thinking.
Good.
I'm just going to jump in and do 2 more things.
Good.
Yeah. Quickly. They'll be so short and sharp. If you find your mind going off on a tangent and ruminating about said person that you're trying to forgive or said situation, a great practice that I got from A Return to Love, a book written by Marianne Williamson, was I love and forgive insert person's name, and I release them to the Holy Spirit. And you can replace Holy Spirit with I release them to love and light. I release them to the universe. You can put, but I love and forgive, and I release them to. And I remember having a situation where I had broken up with a boyfriend, and every time my mind started to go to that place, I'd just say, I love and forgive X and I release him to the Holy Spirit. I love and forgive X and I release him to the Holy Spirit. I only needed to say it about 3 or 4 times and my mind cleared and I settled and my energy settled and I had let him go. So that's a handy practice.
Ho'oponopono was the other one.
Yeah, so Ho'oponopono, it's a Hawaiian prayer, and basically it's, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I listen to that now every night before I go to sleep. Yeah,
Okay.
while I'm writing in my daily journal, I have that playing in the background. You know what? I've been sleeping way better since doing that. So that practice, any situation, any circumstance, any person that you're struggling to really forgive, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And you might say, why am I the one saying sorry? And why am I the one asking for forgiveness? Right? Why? Exactly. The stubborn version of Christina, that's about 15 years younger, would have really gone, held my breath, not doing that one. No one. They need to say sorry, not me.
First.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter who says sorry and it doesn't matter who asks for forgiveness, because what you're doing is you're looking after your own emotional health and well-being and your physical health and well-being. And even though you might not be you might be struggling to accept forgiveness from that person, it's you who asks for it now. And ultimately, from a spiritual perspective, the only person we need to forgive
is ourselves anyway.
Is ourselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so actually when you say, I love you, it's the whole kit and caboodle of this present moment and everything here and now and present and past and everything. I love you. You know, I love you.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me. Thank you.
Thank you. Because in spiritual traditions, there is no distinction between me and Audrey, or me and you, or there is no other. And that's, again, another really deep concept. But basically, if you can think of it as, if I do the work, I send ripple effects out, and it does the work for all of us. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to explain it anymore because we haven't got a couple
time.
of hours.
No, we have not. So, did you want to do a quick Louise Hay before we do the heart meditation?
Oh, yeah. So I think a practice that helped me is from Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Life. And lots of you might know that one because it's often the one that you can go to and flick to the back, and it she's matched up with complaints in different parts of your body and matched them up with some emotional charge that may be happening to give you those particular symptoms. But in the front, she has a few meditations and guided visualizations where you can where you can use them to change your life. And one of the ones that she talks about is, you know, somebody close to you, you know, often mum and dad, or somebody in your life that's close to you. And just in a brief way, her idea is for you to imagine that person, first of all, on a stage, you're in the audience and you're listening to their lives. And from that point of view, there's no real emotional charge because this person is just recounting their life. And so she invites you to do various processes while that's happening. And then at the end, and I think this is really such a good thing for us to think about because, for example, you know, I did it with my dad, and she invites you to think about what that person's life was like when they were a 3-year-old child. You you know, and a 3-year-old child, for those of you who've got kids or grandkids, you know, a 3-year-old child's is just who they are. There's no real layering on of the world yet. They're just out there doing their thing. And how can you not love them? Well, not sure if that's the word she used, but that's really where I took that from. And then using that idea of that 3-year-old child, you know, what was going on around them for that in their lives when they were 3. And, you know, not everybody has a great life. And, you know, it gives you a different perspective, which helped me anyway, make some of those disconnections, reduce the charge. And then finishes with taking that 3-year-old child that's down now on the stage and shrinking them down until they're super tiny, and then putting them in your heart. You know, and that's, for me, that was really a great way of, you know, just allowing those things that happened just to be nothing anymore, you know. I can be the person I am with or without the hanging on to the unforgiveness, you know, who done me wrong. I can let go of those things and put my dad or whoever it might be as a 3-year-old child, as a tiny, teeny, tiny person, and pop it in my heart. And so then you're kind of healing yourself by doing that, which is a great thing from her book.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a powerful practice, very powerful. All of those practices that we've outlined, which have been 4, 5 actually, if you count the gratitude.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
It's not you, your eyes too.
I try not to cry here.
Yeah. Not right.
Exactly. So let's wind up with another really powerful practice, which is a heart meditation, a heart-centered meditation. So it's a loving kindness meditation, and it's a perfect follow-on from what Audrey just spoke about, because basically you're placing the person or the situation or yourself in your own heart. Now, from the yogic tradition, if you kind of place your 8 finger widths down from your collarbone, right, down to the sternum bone, that is the physical place of your spiritual heart, all right? Because your physical heart is to the left. So your spiritual heart is sitting about here, and it's quite way back. So it's actually closer to your spine. Okay. So at the back, right? So it's quite deep, and it's sitting about here. So what we're going to do is, maybe let's all place ourselves. If you're brave, you could place a situation or a person that you're trying to forgive in your spiritual heart, here, close to the spine. And we're going to close your eyes if it feels safe, otherwise soften your gaze. And as you inhale, you breathe from about, let's just do 8 finger widths again, in front of your spiritual heart, into your heart, all the way back to the spine. And then as you exhale, out the back of your heart, about 8 finger widths. Nice. And then inhale, coming back to the front, breathing in through the front of the heart, into your heart, breathing in all the way to the spine. And now exhale out from the spine. Just keep your focus on that flow, inhaling. You continue breathing in to the heart space, into the heart meditation. It's a purification process of pulling the event, pulling the person, pulling yourself into and through your heart. I'm just going to repeat the loving kindness mantra. Just like me, this person wants to be happy. Just like me, this person wants to be well. Just like me, this person wants to be loved. Just like me, this person wants compassion. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be loved. May you be well. May I be happy. May I be loved. May I be healthy. May I be well. And now to bring your hands together in front of your heart. Anjane Mudra, the heart in front of the heart. Taking a deep breath in. Exhaling fully. Bow your head to your heart. Release your hand. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. In this journey of forgiveness, if you separate your hands so that they're like this is a mudra. And in the right hand, you have radical self-responsibility. Taking in your right hand, radical self-responsibility. So here's the mudra here. In the left hand, radical self-compassion. And as you move forward, the journey of forgiveness requires both. Namaste.